Hello, what is up? This is your buddy alertwolf. I'm gonna give you another anime review. This time I'm gonna finish up Hakkenden 8 Daughters of the East. And so this is gonna be of episodes 11 through 13. And I'm just gonna wrap it up as part of your buddy here getting out all the old stuff before I start coming out with the new stuff. And so, in my commitment to excellence, yeah, I'm gonna just, so this one may be a little long. It's gonna be of 3 episodes. Luckily, basically the 11 and 12 complete an arc, mini arc, because these are all about little arcs. And episode 13 kind of sets the stage for the next season. So, I'll give you individual reviews and as well as a whole story, a whole review. So we jump into episode 11, and basically what we have going on is this is basically the we find out what the pact she made with the evil Sosuke, what it really did, besides giving her his eye, or her eye. Giving him her eye, excuse me. And we start to get into some of the effects. Now, you know, she's supposed to get a little bit more time, as it were, to live. And basically, she's in the brothel, she's a little weak, and the owner's son is in love with her. And he had proposed marriage, but I guess it didn't work out. And so he wants to make her happy. And she blames Satomi for some deaths that happened in her village, to her family. And so he figures he goes to take some revenge out for her sake, you know. And so he goes looking for Satomi, and he just misses him when he runs when he runs into Shino. Now, he's like, oh, do you know him? And he's like, well, not really well, but he is my guardian. He's like, well, you know what? I think he's for you. And he gives her her buns. And then he's like, hey, would you like to see Kohaku? And he's like, yeah, I'd love to. So they go down to the whorehouse. And by the way, I'm just going to call this the prostitute arc. But he goes down to the whorehouse. He sees her. And this is where What's-His-Face flips the script and becomes slightly nuts and unhinged. And he's going to make Satomi suffer, to make her feel better, he's going to kill Sosuke. Or not Sosuke, excuse me, Shino. He's going to kill Shino. She's against it, obviously, because she likes Shino. And he's like, nah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to totally just shoot this kid right here. We're going to dump his body, and then you'll have the peace. That's why you wouldn't marry me. And it's cracking him up, you know, seeing her suffer. And that's what he realizes, that she's suffering. And her suffering has driven him. So, next we get something cool here. And that is, she goes for the gun. They struggle with the gun. The gun goes off, hits Shino in the neck, and Shino starts bleeding out. Now, as Shino, we all know Shino's not going to die, because like any of the other people with the marks who've made deals to live, they heal. But there's a lot of blood on the floor, and that reacted with Muramasa. And basically, you have to remember, Muramasa is the great demon blade, and he's a demon. But Shino himself normally keeps him from going out of control and full on demonic, you know? And so since Shino was mortally wounded and bloody, he lost control of Muramasa. Muramasa started feeding on the blood and transformed. And so you get a glimpse of Muramasa's true demon form. And you find out later, right after that, that it ate the dude responsible. Now, I will say this. The dude, even when he shot him, it shocked him. Like, he didn't mean to do it. You know what I mean? Even though that was his idea to do it, it was a part of him that just didn't have it in him. So I don't really think he would have shot. I think they could have talked him down. But whatever. So then, she cracks up from all this. Because now she thinks Shino's dead. They all... Genpachi finds him. You know, he's in the military police. They take him back. And, you know, he starts to heal. And she starts to crack up a little bit. Then she starts talking to Sosuke at the church, and Sosuke lets her know Shino's alright. Now, before this happens, this is awesome. Because Muramasa's grown out of control and his power, part of his power has been released. For a second there, and its demon side of him was hungry for human blood or whatever. For a second there, he turns back into his he turns into his full 18-year-old form, and he has the long hair, and then he ends up biting or taking some blood from Satomi, and then you see that in the morning. Now, a couple of people are shocked at his size and you know, because he's full grown and whatnot. But especially Kumbungo is very surprised. We also get I forgot. We also get Kumbungo also finds out that that what's his face isn't Kino isn't a chick but is a dude, and you know all that. So is his double shock. You know, he learned that earlier in the episode, and then he wanted to keep Genpachi away from him. He's like, oh no, 18-year-old him is totally his type because there's so much gay stuff in this anime. But I'm fine with it. But it's just so much. You know, like these guys swing both ways in this show, but that's okay. I thought it was hilarious, and so he gets him out of there, and you know, well, you know what? I'm getting pretty far with this because this starts to go into the next episode. So, and guys, just so you know, I've watched all 3 episodes back to back. Actually, all the old backed up anime reviews that I owe you, I haven't watched. To keep my review fresh, I haven't watched them. So, the one before, Glass of Tempest, I waited until that, now to watch the end of the show. As for this show, again, I watched these 3 episodes back to back. And so, honestly, episode 11 and 12 to me blur together because really they're the end of that story. So, I'll just give you a quick rating on 11, and I'll keep going with my review and discussion of what happened. So, in 11, I guess it ends right around there anyway. Oh. Yeah. And, you know, again, 11 and 12 have blurred with me, so I can't remember exactly where one ends. But I will say this. The shock of him getting shot, and you didn't see that coming, and then him turning into an adult, which was pretty freaking awesome. Seeing the true form of Muramasa, I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. I thought it was really good. For this show, it's a great. Now, I say that for this show because I'm going to give you my overall analysis of the show, and then you'll get what I mean. Okay, now let's keep going. So then, again, I'm not sure where this falls in episode 11 and 12, but we'll just keep going. So she ends up talking to Sosuke the next day. He lets her know she's fine. When she goes home, you know what? I think this is the end of 11, honestly. So when she goes back to her whorehouse. Yeah, she goes back to her whorehouse. Her best friend, you know, walks her in, and then she collapses, and her eye goes dark and demony, and you get that she just killed her best friend, and then where it picks up is on the next episode, I believe, is now they're talking about the incident. They're talking about the things that just happened. You know, the fact that she just killed her best friend, and they think it's her, and they think she's possessed by something, and they need to go after her. And she's missing from the place. Meanwhile, she's missing from the place because she's missing from the place because she's gone off in a daze because she just killed her best friend, and she's remembering her past, and we're getting all of her backstory, which is basically she was sold into slavery when she was 8. That's where she met her best friend, who she just killed the night before, and you know, she didn't do it on purpose, but and ever since then she's been working in the brothel. She goes back and she talks to Sosuke, who's aware at this point, because of the last episode, that she should be dead already, but she's not. And part of this is Shino's fault, because he gave her like the will to want to live even though she was gonna die, and to remember all the harsh things that's gone through. And then the evil version of Sosuke is the one who obviously did this to get her eyes. Now, at this point, they're talking about, you know what? Let me get this. I remember now where the division of episodes was. The division of episodes was in between, you know, was with her killing her roommate, and they talked that night, and then the next day is when he had transformed into the adult, but the next day is I believe where they separated, where Shino's the adult. Now adult Shino wants to go because Satomi is going to investigate what's going on at the whorehouse. So adult Shino wants to go with him. He says no, that, you know, you got to keep in mind your power could go out of control. You don't want to be in such a situation again. And he's like, you should go to, you know, he goes, well, the other reason why I don't want to go out is to visit Sosuke. So they're like, yeah, I'll take you to visit Sosuke too. And then I'll go to whorehouse. Not knowing that the girl they're looking for is with Sosuke at the church. And she can't enter the church because she's all demonified, I think. And so they're talking it out, and, you know, they get there, and he's like, what's your wish? And she's like, I wish I want to be dead, blah, 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 and all this. And then adult Shino's talking to her, and she's like, oh, this is why I have kids, and she's like, I'm a monster, because she did just kill her best friend. And then she turns, and her wings come out, and it's almost stone crystal-like, but there's still like feathers or whatever. And Shino's like, yeah, no, you look like an angel. You look like the angel from the thing. And she looks, and she does look good. And he's like, I'm sorry. Anyway, he goes, I'm sorry that sometimes I forget that, you know, it's easier to just keep going, to forget about the past and you know, live for today, because the past can be painful. And that, you know, it's all about living and living through stuff. And we get some of Shino's backstory, which was he was sickly, and we already knew that. So whatever, he ends up killing her. But it's not like it was like a mercy killing. Like she had him. She knew she had to be killed, and she didn't resist. So it was the right thing to do. So there you go. And then afterwards, Sosuke and him are talking, and he wants to show Hamiji how he looks as an adult. And then he's like, I'll go get some tea. And then Shino passes out and turns back into a child. So balance, so to speak, has been restored. And that's the way, for the most part, that's pretty much how episode 12 ends. Now, what am I going to give 12? 12, I'll give it a 3 and a half out of 5. It was a pretty good episode. I mean, it was the conclusion to the horror arc. I mean, the prostitute arc. And it was cool to see her demon form. It's cool to just see the adult version of Shino running around. And his personality is the same, but a little different because he's more mature. So it's cool to see that. And I have a feeling that him going into his adult mode is going to happen going forward into season 2. So that's exciting. And so, all right. And so that's my feel on it. The action was good. The backstory and suppositions didn't seem forced on you, and that was pretty good. We're getting more, more stuff out of it, basically. It was a pretty good conclusion. It was satisfactory. And again, no, I liked it. So, all right. So 3.5, 3 to 3.5. So it was a good episode. All right. Now we're gonna get into the 13th episode. Now the 13th episode, real fast. This one is basically a setup. So we get some of the characters that will be appearing in the next season. So basically, Satomi gets called to the main branch of the church, where, the sages are talking and the head guy's there. Because of this whole whorehouse incident, people have found out about Shino, which he's been trying to keep a secret, even though he's his guardian. And they're like, this boy is immortal, and blah, 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 and they want to see him. And Shino, at the same time, Shino's running around, and he gets a confrontation with the Shadow Sosuke. And Shadow Sosuke is trying to let him know that he has all of Sosuke's memories. They talk back about the time in the forest, and this is why they call each other brothers, and because they both have the same marks. And throughout this whole thing, we've been figuring out that all the main core group that follows Shino around, Kabunji and Kenpachi and Sosuke, they all have the mark, and they all must be connected. And Kino, and so they have that talk, and he's like, did you really take Kino's heart? And he's like, yeah, I did. He's like, the other Sosuke took most, he's not complete, and the other Sosuke is mostly complete. And he's like, I've been taking stuff from what I need. When he says that, he steals his ball, his bead. He also shows that he took What's-Her-Face's eye, and there you go. And that he was basically, it's his fault she turned into a demon. And then he bounces when Muramasa comes back. And Muramasa's back to normal now, too. So, basically, they find out that the main church wants to see him, that they found out about him, and he's like, nah, forget that. And they're thinking, him and Sosuke are thinking about it, and there was that one scene too where he tried to confirm if Sosuke remembered the same story. First, Sosuke acted like he didn't, then he confirmed that he did, and so they both share the same memories. And one is not, the other one isn't the real him, and that whole bit. But anyway, so they're worried about Hamiji. So Sosuke and they figure they got Hamiji there, and she is there, but she's with Fox Boy that loves her, so that's okay at the main church. So they go to break in, and Satomi's dog spirit is conversing with Sosuke in dog form, and Muramasa breaks the barrier, and they end up going inside the church. Now, inside the church, you get an introduction of another character, a female character who's pretty powerful, and they consider her a guardian angel type character, and that's Lilith, and she's like the baddest warrior there. And so she fights She fights Shino for a little bit, and she's trying to chase after him. Satomi hides him. Then this other character, who's I think the head of the church, I think his name is Frederick or something like that, and it's her brother or whatever, and he's like, oh, and he completely knows that Satomi's hiding him and all this, and he's like, you know, I'm gonna get to see him later, and he's like, all right, and then so then, you know, Satomi yells at Shino, and he's like, this is all your fault. He's like, I'm not giving you allowance for like a week because of this. He's like, oh man, and so they go back, they find Himeji, and they bounce. And then they go back home, where they end up finding out that not only are they all similar because they all have the same mark, but they also were all born with beads. This has to do with the legend. And and then that's when Sosuke and Shino get home to the same room, and they figure out that that's, you know, because he had been looking for them. So he was like, oh man, you were the guys with the beads. You know, it was so obvious. We all have the marks. Got you. And then he realized that the shadow, Sosuke took his bead. Now, they give you the telling of that legend at the very end, because we go back and see Shadow Sosuke is with this this nun chick, and she's the woman that I think they've been searching for, and she claims to be the princess. Now the princess has been missing, but I think she's the dark side of the princess. It's part of the legend. So, and that's pretty much it. That's, you know, they did end the anime saying, I think summer of 2013. I looked it up. I think they're saying July of 2013 is the second season. So I'm looking forward to it. Now, what I'm going to give this last episode is just a setup episode, so I'm going to give it a 3. It was fairly good because we got to meet new characters. The show in general, I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. Thought it was a very good show, definitely worth seeing. A lot of funny, very good action. I think these short arcs make it so that if you all you really need to do to understand what's going on in the series is you catch it on the right episode, and you could get caught up in like 3 episodes without having to watch the whole show, and you're pretty good. That's its plus. The minus is there's not a big story. I mean, there is a big story, but the pieces are few and far between. So, but you know, I really do like the show. I am going to review it in the summer session. I'll review the sequel, so look forward to that in, I believe, July. So yeah, 3.5 out of 5 for the series. And if you haven't watched it and you catch this video, just watch the show. It's, 13 episodes. It'll take you 2 days to watch or something. So, but all right. So my next review will be Kutura-san, and that will be on episodes 11 and 12 to finish off that series. And that's it. So click it up if you like it, comment if you must, and please, please, please subscribe if you can. And this is your buddy alertwolf signing out.